All right, guys, fantasy football week 3 is here. I'm going to get you guys fully prepared from the latest news, notes, injuries, and some must starts at each position. I repeat, I'm going to get you guys fully prepared, meaning if you've got a question, drop a couple below. I'll try to get to as many as I possibly can. If you want your question guaranteed to be answered, head on over to patreon.com/FFcounselor. I've linked it below. Join the Fantasy Frontlines. Get that below, and I will get to your questions, okay? I want to dive right into this and get you guys exactly what you need to get prepared for Fantasy Football Week 3. Before I do that, you guys have to hit the thumbs up. Smash it. Hit the thumbs up. That's all I ask. It just takes a second of your time. Hit the thumbs up, and again, drop your questions below, okay? Fantasy Football Week 3 is here. Just did a video on there being a lot of uncertainty this year in fantasy football, and there's a lot of manipulation. We just had Chip Kelly, the guy that I really dislike, come out and say, oh, he wants, quote, load management for Ashton Genty. What does that mean? Do you sit Ashton Genty? Absolutely not. This guy was a first-round pick. Omar and Hampton, first-round pick. And they're giving these guys load management. It blows my mind. I mean, you look back at the Buffalo Bills game just this past Thursday, and what blows my mind is this. They had 9, count them, 9 different receivers. Now, if you look at any typical offense, you got 1 or 2 receivers that get the bulk of the work. The tight end gets the occasional looks and checks, right? And then you got a running back to catch the ball in the backfield. And some teams, remember, they didn't even have running backs to catch the ball. Typically 1 or 2 receivers, 3 receivers, 4 receivers max. But the Bills decided to use 9 receivers. I 100% believe there's manipulation going on with the way that the stats are now being delivered because there's prop betting, right? So people get in on this and they're like, oh, okay, well, let's manipulate this. The coaches, the NFL, that's what I believe. That's my opinion, because there's no way that when we're looking at these projections of props, that they're within half a point. Like I think it was receiving yards for James Cook. I think they had him listed at like 10.5 receiving yards and he got like 10. How would you know that if they're not controlling the amount of usage these players are getting? But that's a whole other discussion. Let me know what you guys think on that. But I just feel that fantasy this year particularly is being completely manipulated because it used to be the ace wide receiver, the ace running back. Now there's like 5 different receivers on the team. We're talking teams like the Packers. Who's the wide receiver 1? You tell me. The Chargers. Who's the wide receiver 1? Based on the first 2 weeks, it's Quentin Johnson, right? Like you don't know. And the Vegas Raiders are doing it. And now the Bills are doing it. And it goes on and on. So it's just been a while. So buckle up. I'm going to try to get you guys prepared so we actually win, all right? So let's talk about the latest news and notes here. There's no breaking Brad. It's Saturday. I got to get my kids off to tennis. We got tennis. And so I want to make sure we get this news to you before I head out with the kids, okay? I have 2 kids, and I want to get them really into tennis. They're very serious about it, okay? They're young, but they're, maybe pro one day. All right, so let's go here. Packers, Jaden Reed is dealing with a foot and shoulder injury, did not participate Friday, September 19th, and is listed as ruled out. Jaden Reed sucks. Tucker Kraft did not participate. I want to make a note of this and is listed as questionable for week 3. Josh Jacobs' ankle was limited during practice, but is not on the injury report. Brock Bowers was limited during practice. Note this, I would be cautious with him, but I think he should play. He's not on the injury report for week 3. I think last week he was just kind of still dealing with that knee sprain there. Evan Ingram did not participate and has been ruled out for week 3. They got to start using Sutton more. I don't know what happened to Cortland Sutton last week. It was a Franklin show, and there was literally just no Cortland Sutton. Again, this is what I'm talking about. It's just weird, man. They just paid him $30+ million. I don't know what they paid Cortland Sutton on an extension, and they don't use him. Like there's something there, man. Ladd McConkey was dealing with a bicep issue, but he's not on the injury report for week 3. He was limited, I think, in practice. He fully participated in practice Friday, but I think he was limited throughout the week. Should be good to go. We got Devontae Adams, non-injury, fully participated in practice, but is not. He was dealing with some stuff. There's some limits during the week. Okay, let's get to the juicy stuff here. And this is what blows my mind here with second-year quarterbacks here, okay? Because second-year quarterbacks, you always got to worry about that like sophomore slump. That's exactly what happened here. Washington Commanders' Marcus Mariota will start in week 3's game versus the Raiders as a result of Jaden Daniels' knee being fully ruled out due to a sprained knee, according to head coach Dan Quinn. I mean, I talked about this in all my videos. I love Jaden. I think he's a great talent, Jaden Daniels. I think he's generational. Like he could be really special. He could be the face of the NFL, right? But then, we only saw 1 year. So do I draft him in fantasy? I don't feel that warm and fuzzy to go ahead and do that, so that I faded him, okay? Mac Jones is expected to start. Now, Mac Jones for the 49ers is expected to start because, again, we have Brock Purdy, who's dealing with an injury as well. Shoulder, toe, unlikely to be the starting quarterback this week. According to Kyle Shanahan, it is going to be the Mac Jones show. Now, Mac Jones did pretty well last week. Do I start Mac Jones? No, you don't start Mac Jones. You should have an ace quarterback that you're starting every single week and should be good to go, okay? We also got just a quick note here. Saquon Barkley faces the Los Angeles Rams in Week 3. In the 2 meetings of the Rams last season, Barkley ran a combined 460 yards and scored 4 touchdowns. Note that going into this week, especially if you're playing some DFS, might be worth noting, okay? Justin Fields' concussion did not participate on Friday, September 19th, and has been ruled out for Week 3. Just note that. And I think that's pretty much it that's really jumped out on me. Oh, Juwan Jennings had an ankle and shoulder, did not participate Friday. Listed as questionable, Juwan Jennings, if you're considering starting him. So that is the news. Now, understand, guys, there could be some news. I'm recording this Saturday morning between now and Sunday morning that could break out. Follow my social channels, Instagram, Fantasy Football accounts, or turn on the bell in my story mode where I'm releasing news there as well, okay? So let's talk about some must starts at each position. Now, I did do a full starts instead episode. Go check that out a couple days ago. But again, sometimes matchups, don't mean anything when they're doing multiple distribution to wide receivers. So it's just about being aware of that, right? And when you're looking to start a person, like I got a lot of questions on my starts and sits because I got a lot of Travion Henderson stock, and I'm really debating on whether I start him because if you look at it matchup-wise, he's got a phenomenal matchup. But am I starting him? He didn't get the volume. So that's 2 things. So, you give a person a fish to eat for a day, you teach them how to fish he eats for a lifetime. So I'm telling you guys, matchups play a big part of it, but if they're not doing anything, you got to be cautious. Let me give you an example. Let's just go right to running backs real quick, have a discussion. Some must starts at running back. Isaiah Pacheco has literally done nothing the first 2 weeks. He's got a must start situation against the Giants. Now, you probably drafted Pacheco in the 5th round. Do you start him? I mean, yeah, because it's so limited at running back. Unless you picked up somebody off the waiver wire that's absolutely crushing it. Maybe you picked up a JCM or something week 1. I don't know, because he's got a tougher matchup, but he's primed for a ton of volume. Let's go through it real quickly at running back. Some good matchups here. Javonte Williams, his reign should continue. He's playing Chicago. Great matchup. Pacheco, good matchup here. We got Jordan Mason. We got Aaron Jones out, and Jordan Mason goes into a good matchup versus Cincy. Good for him. Bucky Irving, great matchup, okay? You should be aware of that. Travion Henderson versus Pittsburgh's rush defense. Favorable matchup here. Travion Henderson, who's literally just not getting the volume. I mean, you draft this guy, Patriots draft this guy with a high draft capital pick, and they don't use him. It just blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. They got to use him. I'm thinking of starting him. Taylor, great matchup. Etienne and Tootin, great matchup as well. Breece Hall, great matchup. And Jahmyr Gibbs, also great matchup. David Montgomery, decent. I wouldn't say great, but Baltimore's pass defense is better than their rush defense. They're running. Alvin Kamara, good matchup as well. He's playing Seattle. And James Cook had a good matchup, but they already played here, okay? So those are your running backs. So do you start Genty? Do you start Hampton? You got to look at guys like Genty and Hampton. These guys were drafted in the 1st round. They got to use them. Now, Hampton, I'm a little concerned. He did fumble in garbage time at the end of last week's game. Are they going to use more Najee? I think they're definitely going to use more Najee simply because it looks like he's over this whole eye thing. It just blows my mind, man. Like, that guy should not be on the field. It's Najee, 3.9 yards per carry, Harris. And it's not just Najee. We got Blake Corum coming in, stealing goal line work from Kyron Williams. We got Tyler Algier, who had, I don't even know, have it in front of me, 15 rushing attempts last week, and a rushing touchdown. Take it away from Bijan. This is not just on my rookies like Genty, right? Who they're bringing in Zamir White, which should piss you off because Zamir White had the entire year last year and did absolutely nothing. They go out and draft a 1st-round pick in Ashton Genty, potential generational talent, and they're putting Zamir White in. If that doesn't show you there's some sort of rigness in this, I don't know what else to tell you because it's absolute horse crap. Does this make sense? Like, it's got to piss you off. Like, JCM shines in camp, has a good preseason, has this amazing run to the outside, and they're running Eckler. Good riddance. He's hurt now. And you say, well, Joe, why do you celebrate injury? I don't celebrate injury. I'm just happy that guys like JCM get a chance. Does that make sense, guys? Okay? So, yes, I'm running my – I don't care. If I lose this year, I don't care. I'm going out head high because I know I'm starting the best player on that team. Jahmyr Gibbs, another example, right? When Montgomery went down, he tore it up, yet they hindered him for like 2 years with Montgomery, and they're still hindering him with Montgomery. I mean, why aren't you running your best player and giving yourself the best chance every time the ball is touched? Guys, every time the ball is touched, okay, they have an opportunity for an explosive play with guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, yet they do not put them out there. It just blows my mind, okay? Let's go through some quarterbacks here that are in a good position to succeed. We got Dak Prescott this week. Great matchup versus Chicago. Jared Goff, Drake May. We got Pat Mahomes, great matchup. I know he's, kind of like, people are like, Pat Mahomes, are they going to be 0-3? They got to win this week, okay? They're playing the Giants. Josh Allen already played. He had a good matchup, put up 25 points, not bad. Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, who's out, got a good matchup. I wouldn't start any backups of any of these quarterbacks that are hurt, even Mac Jones for his situation. I wouldn't do it, even though he had a good week last week, okay? Baker Mayfield versus the Jets, decent matchup. And Jordan Love versus Cleveland, good matchup. And obviously, if you got Lamar Jackson, you got to start him. He's playing Detroit and so on and so forth. Now, guys like Bo Nix, Kyler Murray, Cam Ward, Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, all tough matchups, but you're not going to sit them. You're just not going to sit them. Like, I got Bo Nix. It's a tough matchup. I'm debating. Who's my backup? I got, in one league, I ended up getting Daniel Jones. Am I going Daniel Jones or Nix? That's a decision I got to make. But again, you got to kind of go with like how well they've done and how tough their matchup is and make a decision, okay? Let's rip through wide receiver here. Some good matchups at the wide receiver position. I'm going to give you guys some defenses to stream, okay? Just want to make sure you guys are up to date. Again, drop some of your questions if you got them below. I'll try to get to as many as I can. If you're listening in the car, head over to YouTube, hit subscribe, turn on the bell. Takes 2 seconds. YouTube, Fantasy Football Counselor. Actually, it takes like 8 seconds. Fantasy Football Counselor, how fast? Depends on how fast you can type. Go there on YouTube, turn on the bell, subscribe. And if you guys are on YouTube, hit the turn on the bell button, okay? Wide receivers, great matchup. CeeDee Lamb versus Chicago, great matchup here, okay? DJ Moore versus Dallas, good matchup. But again, another wide receiver by committee. Is it Moore? Is it Oduzde? Oduzde had the good week last week. Is it Luther Bird? Is it Loveland? And that's why I faded Loveland, because they've got other receiving targets. Whereas Warren, they didn't have receiving targets. That's why I went with Warren over Loveland. And in a lot of drafts, it was Loveland over Ward in a lot based on ADP earlier on throughout the entire summer, okay? Marquise Brown, great matchup there with KC versus the Giants. We got Deebo Samuel, great matchup versus Vegas. Awesome. Terry McLaurin, he's got to pick it up, man. I don't know what he's doing lately, but Washington versus Vegas. McLaurin's got a good matchup here. DK Metcalf, again, just not performing where he should be, but he's got a good matchup here versus New England. So if you got Metcalf, you drafted him, high draft capital, I mean, you got to start him. I don't know what else to tell you. All of the Colts wide receivers have a great matchup, but who do you start? Again, we're talking about this wide receiver by committee. Zay Flowers, Hopkins, Baltimore versus Detroit, great matchup versus position. Nico Collins, you got to start him versus Jacksonville, great matchup. And then again, you look at these wide receivers. Matthew Golden, high draft capital. What did they draft him? First, second round? The Packers. He had like 0 targets. He had like what? 1 reception, 0 targets, something like that. Last week, 0 receptions. It was like 0. His number is 0, is it not? Like maybe he has a big game this week. Like, okay, well, he did nothing. We're just going to force feed Golden. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But it's like you got Dobbs, Reed, who's banged up. You got Wicks. You got Golden. You got Tucker. You got Musgrave. Like, who's the one? Right? Like, you got Buffalo Bills feeding their tight end 3. Like, it's wild, dude. I've never seen so much dilution and distribution of the ball where they're just not keying in on one player. It's crazy. I've never seen this before. Malik Neighbors, there's a guy you want to start. There's a situation where he's going to be fed. But even still, why are you feeding Wan'Dale Robinson, a guy years 2 hours were not wowed? Malik Neighbors is your one. Robinson got a lot of volume last week. That's really concerning. And then you've got this Brian Thomas Jr. He's got a great matchup, by the way. Jacksonville's playing Houston. They bring in and draft Travis Hunter. Why? You've got Brian Thomas Jr. And then Brian Thomas Jr., if you saw him last game, I don't know whether he had a bet in or something, but he's not making efforts for the ball, saying it's a business decision. Dude, you got to go and get the ball. Even if the safety's overhead coming at you, you got to get the ball secured and protect yourself. You don't get there, oh, I'm just not going to touch the ball because I could get hit. It's football. You're supposed to get hit, dummy. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you got to step up, guys. These players are not stepping up. There is weird stuff going on. Brian Thomas Jr., who's a star last year, who I told you to avoid this year because second round was way too expensive, is out there just not catching the ball because he's afraid of getting hit. I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't. And then you've got Emeka Egbuka. You got to start him. He was banged up throughout the week. I think it was like a hip thing, groin. he should be good to go. He was back to practice, so I'm good on him, okay? Again, if you want the full starts and sits, go back and check that out. Tight end, I'm not even going to do tight end. I hate Jalen Warren too. Another, Caleb Johnson should have been getting the work, but he absolutely sucks too. Should have got the work because Warren was a backup for years to crappy Najee, and I don't even know how he's getting the work. But regardless, I think that's why the Steelers are going to struggle. I'm struggling to talk. They're going to struggle because they don't have a true workhorse running back. Warren's just not it, okay? With tight end, make sure you get Tyler Warren, start your starting tight ends, get your 10 points, and be happy about it, okay? Trey McBrides of the world, the guys you drafted high, just start them, roll them out. You spent, top 5 round picks on them, play them out. I don't know what to tell you because tight end is an absolute crapshoot. Absolute crapshoot, okay? Now, there is players that have stepped up. Let me give you guys a couple here that maybe you might want to consider here. Harold Fannin, the rookie, has kind of stepped up there. With Tucker Kraft being banged up, you might want to start Musgrave, obviously. AJ Barner, Seattle, him and Arroyo, something could happen there. Jatavian Sanders does have a tough matchup. I know he had a good week last week. Carolina, I still don't trust this offense. They are playing Atlanta. It is a tough matchup versus position. Loveland's got a tough matchup. Noah Fant's been relatively consistent, but he does have a tough matchup. So note these things, guys, when you're looking at these players. Zach Ertz, I think he's coming off a big week. Tougher matchup versus position, okay? Again, when you look at that tight end position, start your starters, okay? Some defenses to stream this week. Got my laptop here, going through it, doing all this with you guys. The guys that have a good matchup versus position, Bengals versus Minnesota, not that bad of a matchup. Patriots versus Pittsburgh, not bad. Falcons versus Carolina, very attractive matchup this week. You got to start the Packers versus Cleveland. Packers, a solid defense this year. Colts versus Tennessee, another good matchup. Commanders versus Vegas. Steelers versus New England, so it works both ways there. Jacksonville versus Houston, and Cowboys versus Chicago could be viable as well. But obviously, if you've got your Eagles defense, your Ravens defense, all those top defenses based on ADP, you got to start them as well, okay? That's all I got for you. I got to get to tennis here, but listen, you got to start your starters. You got to stick to the plan. Whether they're manipulating it or not, you have to stick to your plan. There's nothing else we could do. We do everything we can, and we draft the best possible player. Who would have thought that the Vegas Raiders would draft Gentry, first overall generational talent, right? First round pick, their first overall pick, right? And then play crappy Zamir White, who did absolutely nothing last year, and bench this generational talent and say it's load management. Well, here's the stupid thing about this, okay? You're saying, well, I want to preserve Gentry so that when we make the playoffs at the end of the year, we can use him then. Well, without Gentry, you're not going to make the playoffs, dummy. This is what it blows my mind, how there's no logic and common sense, how they're playing crappy players. Algier shouldn't be on the field. Blake Corum shouldn't. You pay $33 million plus to Kyrie Williams, and you're playing Blake Corum at the goal line. It just blows my... They're purposely trying to screw you. Believe me, they're doing that. I have no doubt about it at all. They do it in betting. Now they're doing it at props because everyone's looking at stats. And they're getting within a 1-point differential on their projections on stats. How do they know that if they're not manipulating the distribution of the playability of these players? You got to wake up. You got to stay sharp. And you got to make do with what we got, okay? Be loud. Be vocal about it. If you're not happy, let the players know. Tag the players. Tag the coaches. Let them know, man. Play your best player. I don't know what else to say. All right, have a great day. Happy Saturday. Week 3 is here. Good luck. Go smash it.